what better place than the Americas Society to present this significant figure and this significant biography of Muna Lee. John is a contemporary pioneer in the study of the phenomenon of Pan-Americanism. He calls himself a map maker that indicates the routes and the byways through a tradition that has essentially been forgotten. And that tradition is the contact and the mutual influence, north and south, among and between the Americas. In the center of this tradition of nourishing and appreciating the relationship north and south among the Americas is a major figure in its development, Muna Lee, an American poet, translator, international facilitator of inter-American relations, and an indefatigable defender of women's rights.
The purpose of my presentation is to celebrate Muna Lee and to give you a sense of who she was and what she did that was important in terms of the cultural and social history of the Americas, what she and others of her day called Pan-America. And so here she is, Muna Lee, in this photo taken in the late 1920s. She was born in 1895 in Raymond, Mississippi, which is just west of Jackson, a little east of Vicksburg. Saw battles during the Civil War. A small southern town, south of Faulkner Country. Her mother was a graduate of Blue Mountain College, like her father. Educated parents, and Muna Lee was the first of several children. She herself was very much interested in her genealogy. And later, when she worked in Washington at the State Department, during her lunch hour, she would go over to the archives to dig up information about her family. And as you can see here, this is her typescript. Roots go back in the United States to colonial America and back to England. And then in the late 1920s, in 1928 to be specific, she made history again as part of the women's movement in the Americas. She addressed the 6th Pan-American Congress that was part of the Pan-American Union that was established in 1890. In the Aula Magna, the Great Hall of the University of Havana, addressed for the first time in the history of the Pan-American Conference the plenary session. And you can see in the gallery, women are gathered, and it was being broadcast to hundreds and hundreds of women gathered outside the building. And I want to read to you what Muna Lee, who was the final speaker, said, because it's very poetic, it's very elegant, and it shows her brilliance. Honorable delegates, today is the 7th of February, 1928. In the minds of our children and our children's children, this date may flame with significance. It may mark the birth of a new freedom and the beginning of a new world. That depends on you. We offer you a definition, and we offer you an opportunity. The opportunity of acting with unparalleled generosity and vision We, the women of America, ask of you, the men of America, a treaty guaranteeing us our equal human rights. What happened as a result of this activism was the creation of an organization still in existence, the Inter-American Commission of Women, of which Muna Lee was a founding member. This is Muna Lee in the early 1940s. I believe that Muna Lee's greatest literary achievement was not as a poet. Her poetry demonstrates her skills, demonstrates her ear for language, for music of language and poetry. Her greatest achievement was as a translator. She was, let me make it clear, the most important translator and advocate of Latin American literature and poetry in particular during the first half of the 20th century. And her greatest work as a translator was translating the work of the Ecuadorian poet Jorge Carrera Andrade. I want to read to you the biography for the use of the birds. And this appeared in his book that she translated, Secret Country. I was born in the century of the death of the rose, when the motor had already driven out the angels. Quito watched the last stagecoach roll, and at its passing the trees ran by in good order, and the hedges and houses of the new parishes on the threshold of the country, where slow cows were ruminating the silence, and the wind spurred its swift horses. My mother, clothed in the setting sun, put away her youth in a deep guitar, and only on certain evenings would she show it to her children, sheathed in music, light, and words. I loved the hydrography of the rain, the yellow fleas on the apple tree, and the toads that would sound from time to time their thick wooden bells.